What's going on, everybody? Thanks for downloading the
Thank
Voice
you.
of Bedlam podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Santoro. We got a great show planned out for you today. Hanging out with Devil John. Going to be getting Colin on the phone in a little bit, but we got some good stuff to talk about. I mean, hell, the weekend's here. What's going on with you, John?
Well, it is Friday, which this new format of Tuesday, Friday is going to take a little bit getting used to because usually I'm like Thursday. It's like, it's almost my
the
weekend.
weekend.
It's almost my weekend. But no, it is Friday. It is my weekend because it is the weekend. So, yes, I'm enjoying it. But not only that, kind of sad that preseason kind of went so fast. Because
I'm tired for football, man.
Yeah, I would like to see, but I'm always curious to see, with preseason, who are the players that are going to emerge as, unnames that become big names, because that's usually when you find out.
Saw a couple in that Giants game. In that Giants game. My birthday, by the way. My birthday this weekend, by the way.
What? How old are you now?
Yeah,
How old? Do you join the 3-0 club now?
Not yet, 29.
Oh, man. Why do I feel like I have to be like the old Joker?
The Joker choker?
Yeah, I guess I'm the old Joker choker. Well, speaking of Joker choker, JokerChoker.com is home of the Joker Choker Pro Football Pick'em Poker. Yes, try saying that fast, guys. A new style of football pick'ems that is going to bring strategy of poker to the game of football pick'ems, all right? It's free to play, easy to play, but it takes good strategy to win.
Each week, you'll pick your game winners and you'll try to build the best poker hands from the winning team's cards. So basically, if the Chargers are playing the Rams, you're going to pick the Chargers or the Rams, and say the Chargers will have a 2 of spades next to them,
Okay.
the Rams a 5 of diamonds. Whichever team you pick to win, you will also acquire that team's poker card. And you will build a full 5-card poker hand, and you got to try and build the best one possible. Now, there are cash prizes for this, and it's free to play. So get out, win some money, and play for free. Over $500 in prizes available. You guys can sign up for your free account at JokerChoker.com. Just make sure you use promo code Bedlam, like the show, BEDLAM, for bonus coins to get you started. So you guys use our little promo code, sign up, JokerChoker.com, and you're going to get some free coins and get in on these cash prize games.
Come challenge the Bedlam crew.
We'll be there. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
So make sure you go over to JokerChoker.com.
Also, speaking of other things that we're into and that we're being a part of, United Sports app. Why don't you tell them a little more about that?
All right. With United Sports app, if you guys go to pickthenextplay.com, that's pickthenextplay.com, you can sign up for this awesome new app that's made by the makers of NASCAR, Madden, and also NCAA football. You guys have got to check out this app. It's all interactive. It's not just football. It launches September 15th. So go to pickthenextplay.com and sign up. Now, you guys are going to be competing for some great prizes in that. We're talking hats, shirts, game tickets, and even a brand new car. So you guys have got to get over to pickthenextplay.com now.
Yep.
Why don't we get things moving, John, with today's Daily Breakdown. All right, now I don't really know. Where should we start off today? Do we want to talk some J.J. Watt? I don't want to talk cuts quite just yet.
Why
don't we start off with Justin Hunter?
Yeah, let's start there
okay.
because
With the
we'll
Titans.
do cuts and stuff because the cuts and the just overall preseason stuff. There's a lot to talk about there
All right,
because
so-
it just happened.
So Justin Hunter and Bishop Sankey are both have been cut
Called
by the
it.
Tennessee Titans. And now let's not forget,
Called it.
it's only been about 2 weeks since they traded away last year's second-round draft pick, Dorial Green Beckham. Now, John, as soon as we came across this, you were saying, I called it, talking about it in Remember These Titans, an article you published a while ago
Yeah.
on voiceofbedlam.com.
Yeah, which I'm sorry, guys. If you enjoy reading my writings, I'll try to make some more time. But this guy's got a lot of spinning plates. But I'm definitely trying to get more out
Excuses.
there. All right. Hey. I'm honest. They're honest excuses, but they're still excuses, yes. But but I did call it. Bishop Sankey is a decent running back, and for teams out there that just don't really have that number one running back that could, that's emerged, throw him into the mix, and I could see him as a good change of pace type of runner.
So you think he'll be on someone's 53?
Most definitely. Bishop Sankey was one of the guys that I kind of always thought that he would be like a sleeper guy for the for the Titans going into the season, because I thought he would have made it to like the third string running back,
So you
because
did think he might make the team,
I thought he was gonna make it.
but
It
play
was either that,
behind
but
Derrick Henry and
yeah.
DeMarco Murray?
Exactly. But, when you already have two people splitting carries, or, doing like a 60-40 split, there's not much more that you can do. What you're going to get a 40-40-10 split? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, the Giants have been trying to do that for the past year or two, and it seems like they might be doing it this year. I sure hope not, but it worked great for them in the Super Bowl championship,
Yeah.
the first one in 2007. But it is hard normally to get a three-headed monster going. I mean, Derrick Henry is a rookie. What was he taken in the third round, or I
Yeah.
forget if it's third or fourth round.
Yeah, out of
Out
Alabama.
of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner, and of course everyone knows DeMarco Murray. But what DeMarco Murray are the Titans even really going to get? Are they going to get the Eagles, the Cowboys, somewhere in between? I think, honestly, I would say somewhere in between. I think a lot of the controversy that happened last year was due to him and Chip Kelly working together. So I don't think he's not running behind that Cowboys line, but he won't be as bad as last year. What do you think about their backfield there in Tennessee?
Tennessee, my opinion of it preseason wise, I should say preseason, which that
Well,
sounds
just
like
off season.
yeah, it sounds way too craziness. But anywho, the preseason, gave us an introspective look of how that tandem is going to work out. And as we see, that tandem turned into the dynamic duo of D&D, as I'm going to call them.
Well, tandem is also a double. Tandem means two.
I know.
So that trio turned into a duo.
No, sorry. The trio turned into the dynamic duo.
All right,
so
now
DD, as I'm gonna call them, because I think everybody likes to call things
Yeah,
nicknames
their
and stuff,
own
because the Lightning and Thunder back in the USC days, Lendell White and Reggie Bush.
Thunder and Lightning.
Thunder and Lightning, yep. And then now we got D&D.
Yeah, but I mean, now let's talk a little bit about Sankey here. He was the first runner taken in the 2014 draft, but I mean, I don't know. I guess he's really just ends up being the odd man out. I think. I also think he's going to be on somebody's 53.
Yeah, he's a good running back. He
like-
just needed time. He needs more touches.
He fell into a bad situation the way the roster fell. I mean, I am a little surprised. They're really getting rid of some young up and coming players, losing Dorial Green Beckham in the trade for whatever reason. I mean, I know he was a problem off the field and a little bit on the field, but we really haven't heard a big explanation why, like any straw that broke the camel's back. And I mean, they did it for a backup lineman.
Yeah.
And now, they're getting rid of Sankey.
Yeah, there's, like I said, I think the Eagles would benefit from someone like Sankey because, he's got that type of experience, and he could be your number two behind, Matthews, right? Matthews, and, then you got Sproles, too, so then maybe that third, yeah. Unfortunately, he's got a lot of choices to make, going into the season. Is he going to swallow his pride a little bit and accept a backup role for any team that he goes to? Because, yeah, unfortunately, there's not too many teams out there that are going to probably throw him right into the mix, being number one, number two.
All right, well, I do believe we have King Kojo, Colin Johnson, on the line. Colin,
Fashionably late!
how the hell you doing, man?
Sorry, I'm late, guys. Hope I didn't miss too much. Let me guess. I caught in something about not going to get an opportunity. I'm going to go with Mark Sanchez.
Nope. We're going to get there later. We're talking about the Titans, who have recently released Bishop Sankey.
Yep.
And because John wrote an article about it up on voiceofbedlam.com months ago. But we're just talking about the Titans' backfield. So real quick, off the hip, we were just about to wrap up our talk on the Titans. But, I mean, How do you see now this tandem attack of the rookie Derrick Henry paired up with DeMarco Murray? And I'm asking more about Murray. Now, you saw him with the Eagles last year. I said he would land somewhere in between his play with the Eagles and the Cowboys, just kind of, even out in the middle somewhere. What do you think of Markey and the rookie, Murray and the rookie as well?
I would think that Murray's going to start off as the starter. So come game one, he'll probably get closer to 20 carries than Derrick Henry will. But I think Derrick Henry is really just a great young talent. He's got fresh legs. DeMarco Murray obviously has a lot of mileage. I would imagine that as the season goes on, especially because I don't necessarily consider the Titans a contender right now for the playoffs. I think as the year goes on, they'll see that Henry's going to be more productive, and they're just going to want to see more of Henry until the point where I would imagine, even if it starts 75-25 carries from Murray to Henry, I wouldn't be surprised if that's flip-flopped by year's end.
By year's end. Now, how far along to year's end do you think? How long before you project the rookie to really take the lead role?
I would imagine it would be by the time the Titans are either all but eliminated or actually eliminated from playoff contention. I think they're okay. I think they're probably a 6-win team, which is, obviously a great improvement from 2-14.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
guess you got
around
to keep
like
things in
12,
perspective.
13.
You got to keep things in
It's true,
perspective.
yeah.
So you're talking like a November type deal after Thanksgiving. But speaking,
I think that's right around the right time.
Yeah, all right. But now we're going to have to go back and talk about some stuff we talked about on last week's show. We're not going to take up nearly as much time with it, but the Colin Kaepernick national anthem saga continues.
To sit or not to sit.
Go back to the last show, check it out, to sit or not to sit. That's our big part on Kaepernick. But now, all right, now after the Giants game, they actually cut the Giants game. It was pretty much over. They cut the Giants game to just do the opening ceremony for the Chargers 49ers game. Now, the Chargers were doing their salute to the entire military. And it just happened to fall this way, but it made it an even bigger deal. Now, they had a Navy officer singing the anthem and branches of all the military represented. And they had the flag, one of the big, super flags stretched out. And the whole talk was, is Kaepernick going to sit? Is Kaepernick going to sit? And then, a little before the game, you're seeing things on Twitter, stuff like Eric Reed saying, I don't think Kaepernick's going to be sitting alone tonight. A couple other shout-outs in favor. And turns out during the anthem, now, I watched this on TV. And I remember my wife going ooh, he looks uncomfortable. They're showing him. Last time it was kind of found afterwards. They're showing him, and I'm like, well, yeah, I bet you. I'm like, dude's receiving death threats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and then they pan out a little, and he was right at the out of bounds line, face to face with the soldiers, right kneeling at the flag, and sure enough, Eric Reed was kneeling alongside of him. Now, wait, real quick though, we'll get on the other side of the ball. Or not the other side of the ball, but during the Seahawks game, Jeremy Lane sat on the bench during the playing of the anthem, according to the Associated Press. Now, Kaepernick told Steve Wyche, as we said last week, I'm going to paraphrase here, he basically would not stand for a flag that was allowing racial police brutality to take action, and to happen.
And not only that, to allow, physical harm done to African Americans. Because if obviously we read the verse last episode, so it's
talking
not,
about the third verse of the anthem.
Correct. It's not very loosely interpreted. It's it's pretty straightforwardly worded. But honestly, this type of protest is no different than the people that stand outside of abortion clinics with it's a life. Choose life, they're bringing the protest right to the front line.
Well, yeah. As long as, I don't know. See, I kind of see that different because when I see people protesting,
but he's doing it silently.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
No, those people are usually spitting at people, and even though they're supposed to be morally strong, they say some immoral. Questionable things to those people, and not only that, quite honestly, the power of freedom of speech is somehow being lost. Ever since the signing of the Patriot Act, it seems like people's ideas of what is protected and what is not protected as a human right or civil right. You we have rights, guys, to think and say what we want, and honestly, as long as it's not physically causing anyone else other harm, get over it. I'm sorry. If your ego and your emotional state cannot handle somebody with a differing opinion, then I'm sorry. You need to grow up because you're not going to, or surround yourself with like minded people like everybody else does.
I would agree with the ending part of your statement there. Not the entire part of your statement, but definitely
Yeah.
the ending part of your statement. Colin, you got anything? I know this is a subject that's kind of hard to mention quick, and you
Yeah.
weren't on the last show. But what's your take on this whole Kaepernick anthem? And now it's
I mean,
growing with the whole players and sitting during the national
Yeah.
anthem.
well, there's never going to be a final verdict. There's never going to be like a correct answer. It's always going to be a polarizing issue. So it's going to continue. I think this is going to stretch all the way out into the regular season. I don't think Colin Kaepernick would have done this, and this is just a
Hey,
lot
Colin,
to do with.
we kind of lost you for a second. Why don't you backtrack?
Sure. Yeah. I just think that Colin probably wouldn't be doing this if he was cemented in as the 49ers starter. I know that might be a little bit outlandish to guess, but like it's going to be a polarizing situation. It might stretch into the regular season. No one's ever going to be right or wrong. I applaud Colin for sticking to his guns and speaking up for what he feels is right, and I think it's great that other players are sticking up for Colin and sticking up for the people who are wronged in this country. So I would applaud Colin, whether or not I agree with what he's doing. He has every right to practice his First Amendment right, and I think it's actually doing a lot of good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the most important thing that you said was that he's exercising his rights,
Now,
and that you have no problem with him exercising his rights because he's doing it, quite tastefully. I'm not even gonna say that, except for the socks. The socks were hilarious.
all right.
I
Well,
know
the
that was a
Sox,
bit.
that was during practice, and the Sox were basically, crew socks pulled up with a bunch of cartoon pigs on them in police uniforms. Well, police hats on. There was just the heads of the pigs with police hats on. Now, I don't want to get too much into this. We've done
Yeah,
talking
I know.
about things
Yeah.
with the police. Colin, you brought up something not many people are bringing up, and that is the man is trying to win a job at the same time.
Yeah.
He's not only not the starter, he might not be the backup. So now, as for his play, I mean, when the Niners took the field, there was a lot of boos coming from the crowd. Now he came out and just put
I don't blame him.
a nice little drive together that he capped off with a 15 play touchdown. He only played a couple more series after that. I think it was about two, going 11 of 18 for 103 yards and pretty much leading, well, towards in the beginning, helping the Niners out to the win. So, is this going to affect, Colin, is this going to affect Kaepernick and making the team? I don't believe so. I think he would have already been
Nah.
cut then. What do you think, Colin?
Honestly, and on voicebedlam.com several months ago, I wrote an article saying how I feel Colin Kaepernick is the perfect quarterback for Chip Kelly. Unfortunately, he's got this dead arm. He's recovering from all these injuries.
Yeah.
Now we have this Star Spangled Banner incident. I don't see Colin making the team. I think San Francisco has just fallen out of love with him, and I think it's in the team's best interest to cut ties with him, just like they cut ties with Jim Harbaugh when it blew up. And obviously that all blew up in their face. They were a disaster last year. I no longer have high hopes for Chip Kelly with Blaine Gabbert as a starting quarterback, but I don't think that they need the distractions of having Colin Kaepernick continue to sit on the bench, not standing. It's going to keep getting talked about. And I think it's time for both parties to move on.
All right, now with
Move on to what though?
But
I think Colin won't make the team, and
You just mean
He
have
could
a
just
divorce.
find himself a backup job somewhere else.
Well, see, that's where I'm going to disagree with you. I think if he gets cut, it's going to be because of his play. All right. I don't think he's going to get cut due to this. I don't feel it for some reason.
No, I don't think that
But-
he could be
but
cut because of that. No.
At the same
Yeah, I
time, though,
agree
if
with you.
he is cut, he's going to be blackballed. He will not be signed by a team. He will be the new, not Ray Lewis, the new
Ray
Ray
Rice,
Rice.
yeah.
He will be the new Ray Rice. If the Niners cut ties with him, Colin Kaepernick is
No,
out of
what
the
was
NFL
the name of
due to this.
the Ravens guy that just retired because of his stance against the opiates? We did.
Eugene Monroe.
Yeah, that was Eugene Monroe. Well, he didn't retire necessarily due to that. They cut ties with the Ravens. The Ravens did cut him. He really got on his soapbox, and
and then
he
they
just
cut him.
decided to retire. Though he was talking to teams and he had offers, but he just wanted to retire.
Yeah,
He didn't get blackballed. I'm saying he chose to leave after being cut.
yeah.
He had offers.
Yeah, because
I don't
the
think
details
Kaepernick's gonna get
surrounding his
offers.
situation kind of were a little hazy for me.
Yeah,
so,
a lot more people are for the legalization or at least medical legalization of marijuana
They
than
should-
they are okay with people sitting at the foot of the flag, which is actually where he was this time. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Yeah.
He was directly on the white paint on the sidelines looking at the soldiers, with some of them, if they were pointed in that direction, not
Yeah.
deliberately looking at him, but because they were all at attention and everything like that. But yeah, right there on the sidelines with Eric Reed right next to him. But you guys cool moving on from this?
Yeah, just a quick question to
What's
both
up?
of you guys. All right, now in protest, all right, like usually now, and I know this was like a long time ago that I've seen the video, but I'm sure like there's gonna be a few people that continue the trend. When you disagree with what your country is doing and you still support the flag, what do you do with that flag? Hang it upside down, right? Stars and bars upside down. The stars being in the bottom right hand corner.
Okay.
All right. Now I remember watching a video I think it might have been a few years ago or maybe a year ago, where this veteran ran up to some dude that was on a bike that had an upside down flag and like ripped it out of his motorcycle and said, "You don't deserve to have this flag." And it's like, no, that's what you do when you're in protest. Like when Rage Against the Machine did it, and now Prophets of Rage did it.
With Cypress Hill and
Uh,
Chuck D singing.
yeah.
They got Be Real
Public
and Chuck
Enemy.
D. Yeah,
Yeah.
Be Real and Chuck D.
They just dropped an EP. It's pretty dope. Check it out. I'm a Rage Against the Machine fan, so and I even have one against an older shirt that I did that I kind of cut into like a muscle shirt so I could work out and stuff in it. Almost
Stuff.
stuff. Yeah, see how good I clean up. All right, there we go. But no, and it had the upside down flag, and I was getting a lot of looks from people, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" Right now, if I had the flag, yes, I would hang it upside down. And what would you say? Because really, if anything, it should open up the conversation of why are you in distress? Why do you
It's not. That's. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think when most people see something like that, I think that's taken as a swastika. I understand what you're saying, and most people don't know that there is an actual meaning behind it. The upside down American flag means to surrender, or it means that there's an emergency. That is, most people don't realize that, but there is definitions for that. But if you're
societal
not doing
emergency.
it, I understand that, but most people are going to see that and they're going to take it as a swastika, or maybe they'll probably take it worse than the communist sickle. I think they'll see it with the swastika.
But well, then they need to educate themselves, because as you said, like that's an ignorant viewpoint, because it's trying to say that, hey, we're in emergency right now. All right, guys, like we need to start treating our citizens like citizens, and not only that, we need to start really evaluating what we say and whether or not we're actually standing behind what we say, because the telephone tough guys and, as some people will say, the social justice warriors that are sitting behind their phones and computers saying these things, a lot of these people will only just stay there and just say that behind their computer with that protection of being behind that screen. this generation's, this millennium's, telephone tough guy, because I know a few of us, at least, I'm sorry, the old guy like me, remember, the telephone tough guys that would talk so much crap to you over the phone, but then when you see him up and close, oh, hey, buddy, how you doing? And I think that's what's going on more so these days. I think people, if you're going to say something and you're going to believe in something, you should stand behind it. And if you don't really stand behind that statement, then you shouldn't be opening your mouth without, fully thinking through where you really lie on it, especially with hot topic issues. Or educate yourself, talk to somebody. All the cultural studies I've done are from conversations. I talk to Muslim workers. Hey, what's it like over? Okay. Why did you do that? Oh, okay, cool. Actually, that's really honorable. That's all right, cool. I learned something.
Let's kick things over. We're gonna close up the political discussion. Get it back
Social
over
warriors
to the the turf, if you will,
Yeah.
and take a trip down to Houston. And some big news. Colin, have you heard about this? They're saying that there's a chance, a hopeful chance, that J.J. Watt will dress for September 11th home opener. Or yes, no, it is a game at Chicago, but the opening game.
Yes, when they open up
I
against
haven't heard that
Chicago
yet.
Bears.
Oh, all right. Well, what it is, about 2 weeks ago, he said he was uncertain, Bill O'Brien, speaking about J.J. Watt, who herniated a disc in his back earlier in the offseason. Now, it seemed like J.J. Watt could miss up to the first 4 games. I did a post on this up at voiceofbedlam.com when the injury happened, called Big Blow to the Texans. I don't remember the title, but a Houston article when JJ went down. But I mean, this is a huge break for the Texans. I mean, even though last year a lot of people had the Texans defense, pretty. They thought they were going to be the gem of the NFL, and they really didn't hold up expectations. So, how do you think, Colin, that the Houston Texans defense will fare this upcoming season?
I mean, obviously you want to be able to attack the passer, but they also have a pretty solid defense. So even if J.J. Watt's not out there roughing things up there with the front seven, the corners, especially Jonathan Joseph. Here's an interesting stat for Pro Football Focus. Jonathan Joseph actually had 16 passes defended, which were second in the league to Marcus Peters' 17 last year, and Joseph collected them on 47 fewer targets. So
Wow.
he's a heck of a
Wow,
corner. Yeah, that's a heck of a stat right there, courtesy of Pro Football Focus and Matt Clayson. He wrote a recent article checking in on the secondaries of all team. He has them as a 10th secondary overall. Tough to argue with it when you got a stud corner there. So I like their defense as a whole, but it really takes him down from 9 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10 if you take JJ off the field. Let's be honest. He's the heart and soul.
Now, John, how do you think the other side of the ball, now with a new quarterback, Hopkins,
Lamar.
you know what I mean? How do you think the Texans offense?
Well, shout out to my my other fantasy football, because I purposely went out and grabbed Lamar Miller as my first pick. All right. And I knew it because the guy that I was trying to get Kelvin Benjamin from loves Lamar Miller. And Lamar Miller.
Oh, so you fanboyed.
Yeah, I fanboyed him. Yeah, see, everybody thinks that I go into these drafts and I don't think about things. No, it's no, I am out there like an assassin, more like Hitman style. I'm coming in there and I'm taking you out sniper style. Anywho, so giving the fact that I took him in the first round, not many people looked at me and poo-pooed, which
Miller?
anytime Lamar Miller as a first round
yeah?
pick. Yeah, nobody poo-pooed me, really. No
I
one said
kinda
anything.
would've.
Nobody, yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because I thought some people were gonna give me some poo-poo and be like, "Oh, well, wait to what I do with him. You'll see." But honestly, overall, the passing game, is gonna, D Hop is one of the best in the game, and that's unarguably
definitely.
the truth right there. But
And he's becoming more of a vet now, too.
correct. So, but honestly, he's got Brock Osweiler coming in. He was a little shaky in Denver, and now
To
he's
say the least.
let's see with given the starting position and basically the reins of a team, how he handles that type of role.
I want to stop you right there. Now,
Why?
I remember in week 17 in a win-and-in scenario
Mhm.
when Brock Osweiler was pulled, Peyton Manning put back in. When questioned,
Yeah.
Kubiak said the reason for the move was because the team needed a spark and the team needed a leader. That therefore implies that Brock Osweiler is not that. I always thought that was part of the reason why he left. Is that true? Is he not a leader?
Well,
How? What? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we gonna do?
yeah,
With
I got
Texans?
what you're saying. Well, honestly, now in Houston now, there is no Peyton Manning ahead of him. So, he doesn't have to compete with
He's
a
got something to
legacy
prove.
player.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to compete against a legacy player to be the leader of the team. Now, the rest of this team is going to look to him because, think about like the last success they had down there in Houston, Ryan Fitzpatrick. That would be like the last quarterback
And that
that I
wasn't
would
really
say.
that much success.
Exactly. He would. I would say because Matt Schaub. Like what was that? What was that mess?
And then they
But
had Carr.
yeah, so there wasn't too much, for
There's never been
Texans
much
to.
life there.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, that trend for them doesn't continue because on the defensive side of the ball, yeah, they're pretty stout. They got good cornerbacks, as Colin said. Their defensive line. If J.J. Watt comes back and if Jadeveon
Which it
Clowney
looks that
steps up,
J.J. Watt will come back.
but the
So.
biggest element there for that Houston defense being, really stout all around is whether or not Jadeveon Clowney shows up or not, because he's been expected to show up each year, but he's also kind of let down. Like but then again, it's hard to shine when you got someone like J.J. Watt on that line you're competing with.
Now, the Texans, I kind of think of them as the Redskins a little bit. Like,
Okay.
I don't think anybody remembers that they're the division champion. Do you know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
the Redskins. I don't think, like, everybody's talking, they're either on the Cowboys or they're on the Giants on who would take the division. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And
That changed.
Like, why not the Redskins? Why not the Texans? So,
I got the Redskins winning the division.
oh,
Yeah.
you do?
My
Colin?
most recent NFC, my NFC East hardcore breakdown of the division was published about an hour or two
Free
before
plug.
Tony Romo was delegated or designated with the 6 to 10 weeks broken back. So I since went in and edited it, and I took 2 wins away from Dallas and gave the division back to the Redskins at 9-7,
Wow.
with a 2-way tie for second place with the Giants and Cowboys at 8-8.
Are you really allowed
Yeah.
to change?
Yeah, I get.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what? I'm
yes,
gonna
I
go
can,
back.
because it was injury. It was the
Pre-injury?
article was written with an assumption of full health starting week 1.
Oh, well, you know what though? My question then, just to help you rebound here, all right, so that we can, hope that the host here does not, come for your neck, But what elements do you see in the Redskins that would lead you to believe that they can repeat that division?
I think Kirk Cousins is for real. I think he has a ton of weapons. He's got healthy weapons this year, which he didn't have last year. Deshaun Jackson missed a lot of games. Jordan Reed missed a few games. Pierre Garçon was kind of a shell of himself, but he's looking fully healthy. Now, I know Matt Jones just hurt himself, and a lot depends on that run game, but pretty, mediocre defense has improved with Josh Norman. I think there's no reason to think that they're going to take a step back. I think Kirk Cousins is the real deal. I think he's a pretty good NFL quarterback.
Well,
and I think that now, the division is weaker now. I don't think they're great. Like, I still think they're a 9-7 team, but I think 9-7 once
Might
again
win
will
the
win the division.
All right. Well, the Redskins, Kirk Cousins, 29 touchdowns to only 11 interceptions last year, throwing for over 4,000 yards with a 101.6 rating. Now, he played in all 16 games with completing 379 of 543 passes, giving him the highest completion percentage of his career with a 69.8. What are you thinking about Cousins, John?
Honestly, I want to just ask you all a quick question because it made me think a little bit when he said that they would finish with a division championship with a 9-7 record. How long do you think it's going to be for the NFC East to
Have a dominant team.
retrend this NFC feast trend that's going on? Because it seems like there's a lot of losses going to these out of conference games.
Yeah, that's very true. There is. All the teams have been really underperforming, and nobody wants to run away with it. I still view
And this
the.
is home of majority of the Super Bowls.
I still kind of view, I guess, it used to be the NFC South, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers have stepped it up a little
Yeah.
bit. So I don't really see it that much anymore. But that was the thing. Both South divisions for a couple
Yeah.
of years.
It was
But
pretty bad.
yeah, the East is not looking too well. I mean, Carolina, not last year, but the two previous seasons, I
Yeah.
mean, it was kind of a dead division, and they kind of fell into the win. I don't want to discredit them. They did win the division, but it was a terrible division.
Yeah.
Similar to what the Redskins and the Texans did last year. They won the division, and it wasn't pretty. Last year, however, the Panthers were very pretty.
Yeah, except for that loss to Atlanta, but I'll forgive that. But honestly,
You bring that up and not the loss to Peyton Manning and the Denver
I
Broncos?
don't. Honestly, it looked like it looked like a different team, especially on offense. That game, that Super Bowl game was really hard for me to watch because it looked like they were demoralized by the second quarter. And when you take someone's spirit,
I think
on the field like that, because in pregame you guys were dabbing, you were saying you were smiling, and then all of a sudden second quarter happened, and you're like, yo, I got my mean face on now, and it's like, no, man, where's that bravado? Where's that smile now, man? Like
that's
you need
what
to take
happens, though.
take that energy into the game then.
I think you're going to disagree with me here.
Okay.
The way Cam Newton was acting. Now, I didn't protest or anything like that, but the way he was acting was juvenile, and just like a child, you're so full of just this made up sense of pride. This not earned pride yet necessarily. And then as soon as the one bad thing happens, is you're not resilient because you thought you were going to walk in and take it. You just thought you were going to go in there and you were going to beat up the old man, and you were just going to walk out and dab, and Cam Newton was going to have the MVP in the Lombardi, and as soon as they got punched in the mouth, they got scared and they couldn't punch back.
Yeah.
I think that's juvenile.
Well, it's like a 7. Well, how would you walk into the Super Bowl with 17 wins and 1 loss?
I would walk in mean and pissed off.
Mean and pissed off?
That is what I would do.
Yeah, they looked pouty and
Full-
pissed off.
I would be.
Towards the end
I'd be
there.
having fun, but
Yeah.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah,
I'd be pissed.
I think what the main thing that the Panthers have learned, and Ron Rivera was discussing it on Panthers.com, that he feels like this team is still hungry, and when
It better be now.
exactly, but that just kind of to summarize how I feel about it, you only make that type of mistake that they did in the Super Bowl once. You do, you only make you learn the hard way. Well, guess what? You're gonna learn that hard lesson once, and then hopefully it's the only time it happens, because, the division's still kind of looking a little weak. Atlanta's still not that great. Tampa Bay, we'll see how that goes, because they seem to be a pretty high turnover team, but. And the Saints, they got a lot of rebuilding on defense to do. They got an aging Drew Brees, but Drew
That
Brees.
Sean Payton situation there is still a bit funny. I mean, I know he got the contract,
Yeah.
but still, it was ugly. It was ugly. It's a lot to bounce back from.
But I like him as a coach, honestly.
so do I.
Other
So do I.
other
But
than the
he's a
Bounty
coach.
Gate stuff, I didn't condone that type of behavior. But he's a player's coach, just like Tomlin. Mike
Tomlinson.
Tomlin, Tomlin. Mike
Oh,
Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Yes. Yeah, because
Steelers
you
coach.
can see, and then other than the Jerry Porter situation with him getting on the field, there's a lot of you see that passion from these coaches, and they're young enough that it's like, yeah, I'm gonna at practice we're brushing shoulders. He's not, and no offense to your past coach Tom Coughlin, he's not going to be Tom Coughlin's not going to go out there and hit pads to describe to the defensive end how explosive he wants to do. He's
That's
not going to be out there.
debatable. That's a joke. That's kind of funny that you say that though, because that's the thing they say about Coughlin, that he was still high energy and would be running around. He actually did it during a press conference when he started doing the jumping jacks. 'Cause I think somebody tried to say something like that.
Okay.
And Colin was like, "Yeah, you can kiss my." Coughlin was like, "You can kiss my old butt. You can kiss my old butt." And started doing some jumping jacks. It was pretty. He turned 70 this week actually. But Colin, we haven't heard from you in forever. I'm going to take a second and talk about the Giants. But why don't you talk about the Jet-Eagle game, and we get a little recap going of preseason week 4. Let's start things rolling with the Jet-Eagle game. Colin, what you got over there in Philly?
Our defense looks really good. They once again did not allow an offensive touchdown. Chase Daniel looks pretty bad, threw a couple bad interceptions, but I'm not too interested in week 4 preseason games. Backups playing backups may as well be you versus, me and Sean versus you and John in a game of 2-on-2. So the Eagles are undefeated in preseason. Yet, as an Eagles fan, I don't care.
Yeah, you guys are always
think
undefeated.
they're winning 5 games.
You're always undefeated in the preseason. It means nothing. We've got a lot of background noise going on. I have no idea what that is.
Yeah,
but
it's just divine intervention because you said something smart. Ding.
There you go. But Colin, see, it was not really that case for the Giants in last night's preseason matchup in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with the Patriots visiting. The Giants saw Tom Brady come out and start. Brady came out as the starter, and he completed 16 for 26 for 166 yards with a touchdown and an interception. And it was a nice interception. I'm trying to think. It was one of the James. Charles James, is it?
Yes. Sure.
We'll go with that. It's
sure, why not?
4th week preseason action here.
Yeah, we're talking
There's
about
not
people
even
that are fighting to be on the team.
But that was really the point, though. Brady and the Patriots, I mean, the Giants' D was really holding up against some of the Patriots starters. Tom Brady throwing an interception. It was a bit of a circuit catch, but it was well defended.
How long did the starters play, though? Like just the first quarter, right?
No, Brady played into the second half.
Wow.
Yeah, Brady.
That's because he's not going to be able to play football.
Yeah, Jimmy
after
Garoppolo sat the entire time. But let's jump over to the Giants side of the ball. Now, the Giants ended up winning this game, and Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, both the corners, Jenkins, DRC, a lot of people didn't see any action at all. Ryan Nassib played the majority of the game. His big highlight was a 59-yard touchdown pass to Travis King, and the Giants set up a 25-yard field goal also for a Randy Bullock, who that was a pretty interesting story because Josh Brown, the kicker, is suspended for the first game. Something to do with a domestic disturbance that happened in last offseason.
Wow.
So not a lot of light has been shed on that, but he is suspended.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Giants, seeing Randy Bullock get out there and kick around a little.
Do have a question for you, though, when you get...
and then he had a second 17-yard field goal as well. But what's up, John?
I talked to another Giants fan at work, and he wasn't very keen on Nassib, as a backup.
It's kind of... Yeah, see, the thing with Nassib, the Giants wasted a 4th-round pick on him a couple years ago. And coming out of Syracuse, a lot of people didn't like the fact that in the Coughlin era, the Giants used to draft a lot of players later in rounds out of Syracuse, and a lot of them didn't pan out, and people said it was just because that's where, Tom Coughlin had been a coach at Syracuse.
Okay.
So, but when they picked up Nassib, he's never had to play, so he's never had the opportunity. But in the preseason, it's always kind of been like this. Like last night, he had an ugly interception. He had some terrible balls that sailed. He'll hit you in the breadbasket with a nice bullet spiral Sometimes.
Sometimes.
The other times, it's like 10 yards
Sailing.
past the guy's
Yeah,
shoulder.
it
Do you know what I
sails.
mean? And the fact that the Giants used a 4th-round pick on him, and he's coming to the end of his contract, it's like, what are they gonna? What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
You
but
know, like, what-
but Eli might need, well, then again, he's
but he
been
hasn't
Mr.
performed that
Reliable.
well.
Yeah,
he
he's
hasn't.
been,
Yeah. And
yeah.
Eli is the Iron Man of football.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
Nassau's never really had a shot, but in preseason, it's been mixed to say the least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was curious to think, what you thought about him. Also, got some other crazy thoughts about the preseason here. These Detroit Lions went 31 to goose. All right.
Ooh,
Over the Bills.
Ooh, wow.
All right.
Now I didn't see anything from this game.
Yeah.
But, what do you got on it? Joe?
The passing yards from Rudock, 14 out of 23 completed passes for 173 yards, 3 touchdowns for the Detroit Lions. Orlovsky went 5 for 10 for 42 yards, and the top receiving. Billingsley, 7 receptions for 80 yards, and Lee got 6 receptions for 78 yards. Now, on the opposite side of the ball, there was a lot of problems over here.
I'd imagine
Obviously,
so,
because
31-0.
but then also the Buffalo Bills went 1 for 3, and which is kind of scary because they were one of those teams that I said that could be on the bubble for the East.
What do you mean? Oh, their record.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So.
I just predicted them at 10-6 too. So
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
told you guys that Buffalo. I was high on Buffalo earlier in the offseason after the suspension, the cuts, and the injuries. I totally have given up on Buffalo, and I think the Jets have a chance to win this division.
Well,
but,
hopefully they eat this goose egg and going into the first week because everything gets cleaned anyway, and they use that as fuel. But Manuel only went 1 for 5. They didn't give him too much time, and he only threw for 10 yards.
yeah, but he only threw 5 passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jones took most of the snaps there. He took 26 attempts, only completed 12 for 117 yards with 1 INT. It was just a overall sloppy game. I watched some of the highlights, and there was sloppy tackling on the Buffalo side. There was just there could have been tackles for short gains, but it was just sloppy on defense, which you would think that that it's gonna have to eventually
Rob Ryan?
bring up the question of, hey Rob, even though you're my brother, I might have to fire you.
Oh, that won't happen. Rex Ryan said last year that he was glad to sign with the team that will be his final coaching job, meaning that he's ending it with Buffalo. So I think if Rex Ryan goes out in flames, him and his brother are going to ride it right into the ground together because Rex Ryan is saying Buffalo is the last job he will take. But he does talk a lot. Colin, what's your shake on either Rex, the Ryan brothers, or the game as a whole?
Yeah, do you change your mind about them, getting 10 wins?
Nah, in the same fashion that I don't care what the Eagles do in preseason. I don't care what the Bills do in preseason. I don't care if Tom Brady goes out there and goes 0 for 25 with 17 interceptions. I'm still convinced he's going to throw 45 touchdowns to 10 picks and win 12 games. Preseason means nothing to me. Robert Ryan is a pretty good coach. I think he's got a really star-studded offense. I like the Bills team. The defense drafted a couple of nice rookies in Ragland and Shaq Lawson in the first round, Reggie Ragland in the second. I like the Bills to bounce back if they stay healthy. I really like Tyrod Taylor, LaShawn McCoy, and Sammy Watkins in fantasy. I think they got a lot to look forward to,
Fantasy
and not
ain't
even
real
Rob
life.
Ryan can ruin that.
Fantasy ain't real life, my man.
Fantasy and real life. I got shares of all 3 of those dudes I just named: Sammy Watkins, Tyrod Taylor, and LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, I drafted Sammy Watkins.
Well,
in
I
my
mean,
other
but if
league,
you look
so-
at it, McCoy and Watkins are both injury prone.
Yeah.
I
And
know.
so
But
is
Watkins
Tyrod
is
Taylor.
a monster.
Yeah, but he can't stay healthy. And Tyrod Taylor's injury prone. Sammy Watkins is already injured.
True.
So I don't know. It's just too hard out there in Buffalo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was rooting for him. I like the Ryan brothers. I mean, and I kind of like McCoy, even though he was an Eagle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, gotcha.
I I don't see it happening anymore. I definitely like Sammy Watkins coming out of Clemson. I mean, he was a 3rd overall pick. Mike Evans, I think, what was he, the 5th pick? And then Odell Beckham came in with the 10th pick. All 3 of them taken in the top 10.
Yeah, there was a lot of wide receivers that went
And
off.
I mean,
Good
Sammy
wide
Watkins
receivers there
has
still.
definitely underperformed, but mostly due to injury. He did step up the touchdowns last year. That's one thing for sure. I don't have the exact number in front of me. But
He's Mr. Sticky Hands. Especially towards when he, as you said, towards the end of the season, when it came to those jump balls, and you didn't think Sammy Watkins was going to bring it in, it would be touchdown Sammy Watkins. You're like, what the heck? There was like 5 dudes covering that ball, and he still came down with it. Like, how did that happen? Well, he's Sammy Watkins, and I believe in him. And honestly, as long as he has a quarterback that can throw a ball in the general area of where he is, he's going to get that. And, 1,000 yards is nothing to shake your fist at.
yeah, I mean, last year having 60 receptions, 1,047 yards with 9 touchdowns, definitely stepped up those touchdowns from last year, only having the 6.
Yeah, but honestly, the year before that, he had almost 1,000 with 982
As a
yards.
rookie,
So
yeah,
as a rookie, so
Beckham just kind of outshined him.
most
So, yeah.
definitely. But he was one of those guys that I wasn't gonna forget about, especially in fantasy, because uh, he's a monster. He reminds me of what Larry Fitzgerald looked like in college and what Michael Crabtree looked like in college. Michael Crabtree,
Michael Crabtree did
when
not
he
produce in the NFL.
when he was in when he was at
Michael
Texas Tech.
Crabtree had a great year last year.
Yeah, well, yeah, he had an awesome year for the Oakland Raiders. I think it has to deal with the black jerseys because when he played at Texas Tech, wearing that black in, I think it's, I guess you could conceal that, it's like kind of like a peachy brown color for Texas Tech. But when he was at Texas Tech, he was making one-handed catches, tiptoeing inbounds for them catches, catching sideline catches, and just spinning off
Why
and
wasn't
running
he
down
doing
the
it for
field.
the Niners then?
I don't know.
He didn't do
Something-
squat for the Niners.
Well, also
There's a bunch of hype.
you're also talking about like a big talent differential when you're going from college to the pros. You got pros that belong out there a lot, and
I'm
then
just
there's
saying,
their
I hope-
college players that are testing to see if they are worthy enough
I
to
hope
go to
for
the next level.
Watkins. I hope for Watkins' sake, he has a better career than Michael Crabtree. I wouldn't want, if I was a wide receiver, I wouldn't want people pairing me up with Michael Crabtree. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't poo-poo him them, and because he's on.
I've
that,
never
he's,
liked
he's on that.
Crabtree.
He's on that Raiders squad, and just to kind of touch upon, and we were talking about the last preseason games. The Raiders did lose though, 23-21 to the Seattle Seahawks. Most notable people there with yardage. Cook threw 15 for 30 for 145 yards for the Oakland Raiders, and then the Seattle Seahawks had Boykin throwing, and that was 7 for 15 for 72. So honestly, I believe in them Raiders going into especially because mostly the people that played there, as you can see, were 3rd, 4th stringers, and they're still doing numbers.
Well, I do believe in the Raiders. I'm not a Michael Crabtree fan. He did not produce in
He
San
is on a
Francisco.
Raider.
He only had he only has 1,000 yard season in his career. This year
He was
did
close.
almost do it. Similar numbers to Watkins, except it took him a lot more catches. Watkins only needing 60 catches to break 1,000 yards. Crabtree 85 receptions, 922 yards, ties Watkins with 9 touchdowns. But early in his career, I'm sorry, let's just look at his total yards here.
Okay,
Rookie
go
year,
for it.
625.
Okay.
Second year, 741. Now
Yep.
we're growing a little, 874. And then finally in 2012, he breaks the 1,000-yard mark with 1,100 yards. Then in 2013, playing in only 5 games, going for 284 yards.
Yeah.
Before that, he had been reasonably healthy, only missing a game here and there. 2014, playing in all 16 games, went for less than 700 yards. So, I mean, it was a bit of a bounce back for him.
Yeah.
But he has 1,000-yard season where he also had 9 touchdowns. That would be his all-time high. He did tie it with Oakland and David Carr, so maybe he can continue to grow. But he is now also coming into his 9th season.
Correct. Yeah. So mark my words, okay? he's going to have the best year of his career this year. The reason why, and I'll give you an exact reason why, and I'm going to say 2 words: Amari Cooper.
Bam! There you go. Good point. Great point, John.
Because Amari Cooper is a beast. They're going to double team him every chance they get. It's going to open up Crabtree. And Crabtree, as long as he's,
That'll help Crabtree
you
a
know,
lot. Well,
as,
he
yeah,
needs
It
that.
worked for him last year.
Yeah, he has. Colin, would you agree he has trouble getting separation at times, though, Crabtree? I think this could really help that, though.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the speed that Cooper was, or even that he had when he burst into the league, 7 years ago now. So
Yeah.
he's not necessarily a possession guy, but Derek Carr has been incredibly talented at just getting the ball to right where it needs to be. I think Derek Carr's skills as a quarterback are definitely beneficial to, furthering Crabtree's career. If it doesn't have breakaway speed, then you got to have somebody who can get you the ball exactly where it needs to be when you get your small window of separation.
Absolutely. Now, John, do you got anything else you want on the Raiders?
Well, I just, other than making the point now that Michael Crabtree's going to have a good year, Derek Carr, this is going to be his 3rd year, and
I got high hopes for Carr and the Raiders.
I think he's gonna produce, and he's got Latavius, taking some carries, and he's not terrible. So, plus
Gotta fix
last
that
year's
O-line, though. They got a rough
they
O-line.
they did some piecing to the interior line. We'll see how the pieces fit this year. But honestly, I think the pieces that they acquired to fill in for that interior line is going to be enough for Derek Carr to produce, because last year, he had that overall rating of a 91.1. You don't do that. You don't just do that with a crappy interior line and then get pieces that are going to help build it and then go backwards. There's just, I don't see that being his trend.
Now, Carr coming out of Fresno State in his 2nd year pro last year, 32 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, coming just shy of 4,000 yards with 3,987. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. He has not missed a game in his career, but they have got to shore up that offensive side of the ball, or he will, just like his brother did. His brother came in to an expansion team and got the snot kicked out of him, was the most sacked quarterback of all time, started, coming up with some concussions here and there, just getting knocked around. They really need to protect Carr. I think he could be really great. I am high on the Raiders. Oh, and I gotta
32
tell you,
TDs, but 13 INTs.
but I got to tell you something. Talking about the Raiders, we were talking about the pool that my family has been in for quite some time last show or whatever.
Yeah,
my mom listened to the
shows
show,
ago.
talked to it. She was pissed at me. She said, Andrew, I was like, what? She goes, I was not born in 1957. My mother was born in 1958. My mistake. My father was born in 1957. I apologize.
Heinz 57. Shout out.
There you go. Well, no, she was born in 58. I said
know.
57.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, he
And she started it.
slipped.
They started it when she was 17 years old.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Okay.
So it's more of a 70s thing.
So, yeah, but still, you were ahead of the curve, mama. You were ahead of the curve, mama.
You calling my mom mama? That's kind of
Mama.
weird. But
Well, I was just
I got you.
I was trying to do the
Bobby
Tupac,
Boucher.
like, dear
Oh.
mama. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But no, that's awesome though. Like my mom definitely knows Jack Diddley about football, and I know she listens to the
My
show,
mom's-
so I'm sorry, but she's jumped ships from different teams, from Bengals to Raiders, and now I think she's an honorary Giants fan. So she's gone to the blue side.
Now, see, this pool kind of gets me in trouble because I actually pair up with my dad,
Okay.
and my mom pairs up with my stepfather. Do you know what I mean? So,
Oh.
but my mom follows football, and she's
Gotcha.
good with it.
Yeah.
But she's always trying to like pick my brain, and I give her stuff, like I give her info, but my dad gets mad at me. And
Yeah.
my dad's always trying to convince me to give her bad info, but I can't though, even
Yeah.
though we're going against each other.
It's like, well, now the only info you get mom and dad, is on the show. So
Yeah, so
now
listen.
now just listen to the show, and
Yeah.
then you guys got equal opportunity. It
Pretty
gets
sure my
released at the
mom
same time.
my mom listens to this show a hair bit more than my father does. I'm gonna have to venture out and guess.
Well, we appreciate it. I know that one time I was leaving here and she, gave us some kudos. So I appreciate, that there's people have an intellectual conversation about our show though, because yeah,
So good job. My mommy listens to the
yes,
show.
my mom listens as well. I'll give her a shout out. I know my dad, checks it out too. So, it's just glad to see that the parents are getting involved. I
Shout out
appreciate
to
it.
all the listeners.
We
When
love the
st-
moms. We love the dads.
When we start talking about our moms and dads, hey, Colin, your mom listening to the show? What's good?
Yeah,
Your
what's
dad,
going
what's
on?
going
Is
on?
Mama Johnson listen?
I don't think so.
What?
I
You
told
need
her,
to
like,
get
hey,
Mama
Mom,
Johnson
you're gonna be
on.
bored to tears, so don't even bother.
I guess we'll have to have like a quilting episode to have her on or something. I'm joking.
But when we're talking about our mothers
Yeah.
on the show, I think it's time to cue in that
Yeah.
outro music, John.
Yeah,
I think it's time to wrap up the show. And with
Yeah.
that, let's talk about the music. We're gonna be switching up the music a little bit. And if you heard last week, I said something about my absolute best friend being in the military. That is Double Z. Black Zach Tyree. All right, now if you're from this area, you definitely know who I am talking about. But Zach helping us out with the music. We're gonna be jazzing it up some more. It's a work in progress. But John, where is the outro music?
Well, I
my
wanted you
man?
to intro it,
I
with the
was trying to
person and
talk
give
over
you
it.
like a nice
But let's
thing.
go. All right. But we're going to get out of here for this week. Had a lot of fun. I mean, just think about it, guys. Only one more Sunday with no regular
One
season
more.
football. I mean, football is right around the corner. Giants kicking things off with the Cowboys. I can't wait. We're going to see Sterling Shepard. We're going to see Dak Prescott in a real game. Major implications for the whole division and the whole weekend, the whole Sunday going to be all about NFL. I'm hyped. But make sure you guys check out jokerchoker.com. Now, a quick little announcement here. They're going to be sponsoring our pick segment.
Yeah.
So we will be playing Joker Poker on the air, and you guys should play along with us. Go over to jokerchoker.com.
See if you can beat the team.
Now, we're going to be wrapping things up. I'm going to close the show out for Colin in Philly, Devil John. I'm Andrew Bedlam, and we're getting the hell out of here.
Peace.
Joker, 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 Joker.